Hi and welcome to Dave's Classic Collectibles. Previously on my channel we had a look at the most common scales in Australian model cars. Today we're going to have an in-depth look at the 143 scale, where it sort of is today, where it has been, and somewhat in between, looking at a few different models and manufacturers. So let's have a closer look at the 143 scale. I guess the best place to start when you're looking at 143 models is probably where it really began for Australia, and that's with Trax models. They started in 1986. Their first boxes, which was code A, which is the blue and yellow box, window box. And these are a couple models here to show you that are in those original ones. So the HK 327 here was released in 1987, and the Ford Falcon XY GTHO, it was released in 1990. So in those 3 years, the molds and the quality of the car, the paint and everything was pretty much the same. They did get better over time, and there's different models and different codes that have gone through. The Fairlane that's actually just behind there, the ZJ Fairlane, is one of their later models, and that's actually resin, not die cast, this one right here. So the quality of the model is just insane compared to the HK and the GTA, but also it's a lot different. It's only just been done in the 2020s, not back in the 1980s or very early 1990s. So they have really come a very, very long way. And the good thing being resin too, they won't rust like a lot of these older Trax models do. And that's not a go at Trax, that's a lot of old die cast. Doesn't matter if it's 118 or what size, a lot of them can get rust. Some models just tend to be worse than others, and it's different manufacturers. It's just the way it is. We don't really know why, but obviously keeping your models out of direct sunlight and out of moisture is definitely something that's going to help them last a very, very long time. Here's some of the main manufacturers that are available in Australia. We've got, as we mentioned, Trax. That one's in the Opal series, which everything opens, but we'll talk about that later. IXO, one of the new ones on the market, which is just coming out now with the Australian magazine. Auto Art Bianti. Croatia models, which do a lot of Japanese. The Little Barina is a Mini Champs. Ace models, the VC HTT. And a very early Classic Collectibles over here. Now, each manufacturer does a lot of different things. Mini Champs mainly does a lot of rally cars and race cars, a lot of European stuff. So, but some of that does override into our cars, particularly things like, for instance, the Brock Volvo, and they also did the Green Eyes Craig Lowndes AU XR8 Falcon. Ace Models hasn't done a lot, but he has done quite a few different cars and did fill in a few gaps. And also some of these manufacturers, particularly the Australian ones like Ace, Trax, Bianti, Auto Art, Classic Collectibles, they've actually shared the same body makers, or the guys who make these molds, and different guys have worked for different teams or been part of those teams throughout. So they have sort of chopped and changed from one manufacturer to the other. All these manufacturers have produced some fantastic cars and some not so good, but you can be the judge of that. That's the idea of collecting. Well, I guess the question is, why would anyone collect 143? And there's definitely two big, very good reasons why you should consider 143. The larger car we have here is the 118, and the smaller car here is the 143. And as you can see, big difference in size. Now, yes, you don't get quite as good quality, but let's be honest, some of the stuff that's coming out these days in 143 is getting very, very good. So size is a big thing. You can obviously have a lot more cars in your collection for a lot less space. You also don't have to worry about storing all those boxes and taking up as much space. And also, particularly here in Australia now, a lot of people are moving into smaller homes, townhouses and units, etc. The dream of the quarter-acre block is very much fading away. Now, the other big reason, of course, is what everyone wants to talk about: price, how far your dollar goes. The 118 market, as they start, are around $300, and the new molds now are pretty much around $350, where 143, particularly for the decent, really good models, is around the $150 mark. Some stuff's a little bit cheaper than that. Obviously, IXO, as we mentioned with the magazine series, is coming out for $25. So it is very, very much also price a very big consideration when you're looking at starting a collection. In my opinion, this really is the pinnacle of 143, what's in front of us now. This is one of the Trax Opal series, and as you can see, everything opens. Now, these are still die-cast models. Now, the great thing about these particular cars is there's not a lot of 143s that open. Now, Bianchi did do a nice little series called the Reserve Collection, and they've got quite a few. Trax probably have done the bulk of opening doors, and they're all their Opal series. So if you see anything in the Opal series for Trax, it is all completely opens, like this beautiful Statesman here in front of us now. Now, what I love about it's not just the fact that everything opens, it's also just the detail. The detail they have gone into here, it is, in my opinion, definitely up there, one of the pinnacle models in 143. Said not taking anything away from the Bianchi one that they did, that Reserve Collection, it was very nice also. Unfortunately, they don't make these anymore. All the current Trax models are resin. The models that they're producing today are beautiful, but in my opinion, as I said, definitely top of the league. This is typically what you do get in a 143 model. Now, once again, this is the current releases from Trax. This is a resin model. Outstanding. It looks exactly like a ZJ Fairlane should. Very sentimental to me. My father used to have one of these cars, so this is to me growing up. So, but they have done a great job on this, and this is typically what you do get from a good looking model. And as I said, resin, so you won't get the rust, but unfortunately nothing opens. Imagine if this was opening as good as that Statesman we just seen a second ago would have been. It would just be the pinnacle. We've brought these few models in now just to finish off, and the idea of that is actually just to show you the difference in the size, because obviously when everything is to scale, a Barina, for instance, which is right here, is obviously a lot smaller than a Falcon or a truck, and obviously the tow truck there shows that the Falcon on its back also gives you a bit of a concept of really the size of the actual models. So therefore, because everything is to scale, and even just threw an Indy car in there to go with it as well. So with 143, once again, with all collections, it doesn't matter what you have. You can go anything from machinery, from NASCARs to Australian cars to European cars, race cars. The list just goes on and on. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you want to do. But 143, summing up, I think they're a fantastic size. This is where I started my collecting back in the mid-90s. I started actually collecting Trax cars, was the first set that I actually bought in 143. And a lot of people have done that. They still continue. I don't have that collection anymore. Today I've gone into 118s as well, and a lot of other scales. But definitely 143, very good for the price. The new stuff that's coming out is blows my mind how good some of these models really are. And you've also got the XO models that are now $25. So there's a lot out there to look forward to in the 143 market. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed our in-depth look of the 143 scales in the Australian market. If 143 is what you collect, please leave a comment, or if there's something that you do like or you'd like to see in the 143 range, also leave us a comment. If you enjoyed today's show, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel would be really helpful. Until next time, happy collecting.